This will be for the con exercise. Interpret parabolas in context. All right, it says Rico opens an ice cream shop. The function f models the shop's net worth in thousands of dollars as a function of time in months after Rico opens it. Plot the point on the graph of f that corresponds to the shop's net worth when Rico opens it. Okay? Now, before I even look at the graph, it says that it is a function of time in months after Rico opens it. All right, so when he opens it, how many months are we at? Well, when he first opens it, that's just going to be 0 months. All right, so that's what we're looking for, 0 months. And they want us to plot the point on the graph. So all we have to do is find the graph at 0 months and click on it. All right, so the y-axis right here is the net worth. We don't really need that because we have the x-axis in months right here. So basically, this is when he opens it at 0 months. This is 0 right here. This is 1, 2. This is -1. So this is 0 right here. But they said plot the point on the graph. Okay, so you want to click this point and take it to 0 months. I'm on the x-axis here. I'm going to take it to 0 months. But then I want to go to the graph. And the graph is right there. Okay. So you see the y-axis is the net worth, how much money he has, and this is the net worth at 0 months. We don't need the exact number. They just said to plot the point on the graph when he first opens it at 0 months. So see how it lines up to the 0 on the x-axis. All right, biologists introduced a population of bacteria to a test environment. The function f models the population size in thousands as a function of time in days after introduction. Plot the point on the graph of f that corresponds to when there are no more bacteria in the population. Okay, no more bacteria in the population means that the population equals 0. Okay, because they said no more, when there's no more bacteria left. And just like the first question, they want you to plot that point on the graph. All right, so let's look at the graph and find the population where it's 0. All right, so here's the parabola. And here's the population size. That is the y-axis. All right. So if we go to the y-axis, this is the population. Trace it down, 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 down. And we want to find where it equals 0. All right. So that's right here on the y-axis. So we want this point population of 0 on the parabola itself. All right, so this is y equals 0, and if we just go to the graph, that's going to be right there. That's it. So I'm going to click this point and bring it to that point right there. Remember, they said on the graph, so it has to be on the parabola at y equals 0. So that's it. All right, Sophie opens a new restaurant. The function f models the restaurant's net worth in thousands of dollars as a function of time in months after Sophie opens it. Plot the point on the graph that corresponds to the restaurant's minimum net worth. All right, so let's look here. We see on the y-axis, that is the net worth. Okay, so how high up or down the graph is determines the net worth. All right, because that is on our y-axis. And they want us to find the minimum. Okay, so that's pretty simple. We can see the minimum or lowest point on this parabola is right there. So we take our point, click on it, left click, hold it down, and drag that point into place. All right. We learned in another exercise that's actually the vertex. All right, but they didn't use the word vertex. They just said the minimum net worth. So the y-axis is the net worth, and this is the lowest point right there. All right, so that's it. Okay, a baby bird jumps from a tree branch and flutters to the ground. The function f models the bird's height in meters above the ground as a function of time in seconds after jumping. Plot the point on the graph of f that corresponds to the bird's height above the ground when it jumped. Okay, the time is in seconds after the bird jumps. Okay, so the time when the bird jumped is going to be t equals 0. I should say time, because they didn't say t. Time equals 0. It's in seconds, so you can say 0 seconds if you want. All right, and as always, we are plotting the point on the graph. So all we have to do is find out when the time is at 0 or 0 seconds and trace that to the graph. So the y-axis is the height, but the x-axis is the time in seconds. Okay, we said 0 seconds. So if we trace this to the 0 on the x-axis, that is right here. That's 0. Okay, but we said we wanted to put the point on the graph. So at x equals 0, we want to trace that to the graph. At x equals 0, that's going to be right there. All right, so click on the green dot, left click, hold it down, and drag it right to the graph. All right, make sure it lands on the parabola. That's the idea. All right, Michael starts a new paper company. The function f models the company's net worth in thousands as a function of time in months after Michael starts it. The company is in debt if its net worth is negative. Plot the point on the graph of f that corresponds to the first time after 6 months at which the company is no longer in debt. Okay, so it says here the company is in debt if the net worth is negative. So if we want to be no longer in debt, in other words, the net worth is not negative. Okay, I hope that makes sense because it says it's in debt. The company is in debt when the net worth is negative. We want to find out when it's no longer in debt. So that means the net worth is not negative. And it has to be the time after 6 months. And as always, we're going to plot the point on the graph itself. So we're going to go after 6 months, and we're going to find out when the net worth is not negative. Okay, so in other words, it has to be 0 or positive. If it's not negative, it's going to be 0 or positive, and it's going to be after 6 months, and it's going to be on the graph. All right, so right here, the x-axis is the time in months. Okay, so here is 6 months. It has to be everything after 6 months, okay? So it has to be after 6 months. And the y-axis is the net worth. All right, and we said it has to be 0 or positive. All right, so over here it's positive, but this is not after 6 months. Right here, the person is in debt. The company is in debt. And then right here, the company is no longer in debt. See, this is negative right here. This is below the x-axis, and this is positive going this way. All right, so right here is exactly where the company is no longer in debt. And the point has to be on the graph, so take that green dot, left click, hold it down, and bring it to the graph. All right, so that's it right there.